Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Samo, and I am a clinical mental health and academic counselor. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. I ask Allah to grant me the ability to benefit you, to be of benefit to you, inshallah, and to guide us and to grant us the serenity and patience during this time, inshallah. I'm going to be discussing finding the light, taking care of our mental health in quarantine, and becoming a beacon of light, like a source of hope during this difficult time. If you have any questions, I ask that you write them down and we'll go over them at the end of the session, inshallah. Okay. So, would you have believed if you were told that you would be in quarantine in 2020? I wouldn't have either. It seems like something from out of a movie. SubhanAllah, it's just in these last few weeks, our entire lives have been put on hold. It's been disturbed. Our schedules, our routines, the plans we had, everything is stopped. And all of this is happening in such a short period of time. And we're all used to certain routines, whether it was work, school, social activities with family and friends. And that's all come to a halt now. Everything has changed. And change has never been an easy thing. So, whether you're a student who was forced into online learning, or a parent who is parenting full time, or someone who's working from home, or someone who's working from home and parenting with children who need your attention for studying, eating, and everything else, this may be an extremely challenging time for you. It can be overwhelming and frustrating. And many of us are taking on new roles that were designated to others, but now they're our responsibility, and we may struggle to fulfill them. It can be really stressful for many of us, and that's expected because we're dealing with a global pandemic. It's natural that our brain may be in survival mode right now. So it's just trying to keep us safe and alive. And a lot of people may experience fear and anxiety, maybe even higher levels than they've ever experienced before, and that's because it is a global pandemic, and this is something that is scary. And it's not strange to be going through this. It's actually a very normal response to what's happening in the world right now. Because news about COVID-19 is all around us. It's flooding our social media, it's flooding the news, it's pretty much everywhere we turn. Every conversation that's being had is about COVID. If you look at the memes, they're all about, things that were supposed to be funny at a point in time are now all about COVID. What talks about being highly contagious, deadly, and still not under control can, that can give us a great sense of uncertainty about our future, about the health of our families and our friends. And along with that comes fear, depression, and anxiety. So when we talk about finding the light, and that's inshallah our topic today, when we talk about finding the light, we want to know how to be patient and how to cope through our different feelings. So some of the things that we can do to support ourselves during this time, my number one thing I would say would be praying on time and making dua. The spiritual part of praying acts as a person's direct communication with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and we've been blessed with salah that allows us to connect directly with our creator, seeking from him the personalized assistance that we need in order to get through our individual struggles. So each one of us struggles with something different. And in our prayer, that struggle and or are asking our dua or are asking Allah to relieve us of that struggle, it is very individual to us. Um, the physical part of it, the physical part of praying, because there are benefits in the physical part of praying. Movements, they help us decrease our stiffness in our joints. They help us stretch and they increase the strength in our muscles. It's also the blood circulation. It improves our overall physical health or physical fitness. So movement generally is known to trigger a positive feeling in the body. Um, Making dua, that's the second part of it. It's praying and making dua. Making dua is also extremely important because dua has the power to change our destiny. Prophet ﷺ says, nothing increases one's lifespan except good deeds, and nothing repels divine decree except dua. And verily, a person may be deprived for sustenance due to a sin that he does. The Prophet ﷺ also says, there is no Muslim on the face of this earth that asks Allah for anything except that Allah gives it to him, or averts from him a similar evil, as long as he does not ask for something evil or for breaking the ties of kinship. Um, a prayer that the Prophet ﷺ used to make was Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum bi rahmatika astaghith aslih li sha'ni kullah wa la takilni ila nafsi tarfat ayn. And that is, O ever living, O ever sustaining, in your mercy I seek relief. Rectify all of my affairs and do not leave me or abandon me to myself even for a blink of an eye. And subhanAllah, asking Allah to handle all your affairs, even the smallest of it. This is important because Allah's mercy is greater than everything around us, our fears, our sorrows, and pretty much everything. So, establishing or maintaining that connection with Allah is the most important thing to do during this time. I would say number two would be to take care of your body. Try to eat healthy, well balanced meals, exercise regularly, and get plenty of sleep. Try to keep a routine. For example, wake up in the morning, make your adhkar, make your bed, wash your face, brush your teeth, change your clothes, have breakfast, and then get started with your day. Taking breaks from watching or reading and listening to the news, limiting your social media use. According to research studies, actually a higher use of social media is directly correlated with the higher levels of depression and anxiety. So be mindful of how much you're on those social media apps throughout the day. And also hearing about what's happening repeatedly can be upsetting. We have to stop ourselves from dwelling on why this is happening to us, because a lot of people I hear are saying, why is this happening? Why are we going through this? Why am I stuck at home? Why am I forced to to have to go through this? And we must remember that Allah is the blessed of planners, right? Because perhaps we hate a thing which in fact is for our own good. And perhaps you will become closer to your parents or your children or your siblings. You may learn something new. You can focus more on your worship if you haven't been doing so already. You can prepare yourself for Ramadan, which is literally right around the corner, April 23rd. So before we know it, it'll be time for Ramadan. It'll be right here. So it's really a time to, renew our intentions and to focus on ourselves, and maybe, we can grow from here and from this experience. Um, and hopefully, inshallah, we will take advantage of this time. And another thing is that to attend Islamic online lectures, they're all over the place right now. I know that BCIC is offering some activities online. I saw them. I saw the calendar. So join as many as you can. It can really help you help you feel connected with the community. And if you want updates on the news, or you're interested in knowing what's going on, look for the factual information. CDC.gov and WHO.int are reliable sources. Don't believe everything you hear or see on the internet. Because a lot of the times I see these WhatsApp messages going around, and a lot of the times they're not reliable and they don't have reliable information. So it's nice to to look at things that are social, but choose what you believe very carefully. Designate time to relax and unwind, take a nap or just a rest. A qaylula, which is a nap, is the sunnah. So taking breaks and taking care of our needs is important so that we can take care of the needs of others around us. So it has to start with us first. Try to do some activities you enjoy or that you couldn't find the time to do before. So if there was something that you were putting off, Like with me, for example, it's sewing. I have the sewing machine that I have never used, and I've been putting it off because I say, when I have the time. So maybe, it will be the time to pull it out and, try to learn how to use it. um, so you can find something that you would like to try, maybe, or something new, or to keep you, it's a healthy distraction, maybe, to keep you busy from being consumed with everything that's going around. Connect with your family, FaceTime a friend, a classmate. There are many ways and many things that we have taken for granted. There are many things that we have taken for granted that we can reflect on and change during this time. This is a second chance for us, in a way, to show a greater appreciation for what Allah has given us. So some things you can do um, if you are feeling anxious and overwhelmed, or your thoughts are all over the place. Try taking a deep breath. Take a deep breath in, take a breath in and take a deep breath out. Take your time, do it slowly. Core regulation works. We can reach out via Skype, FaceTime, or whatever other method that's available to you, and try to connect with someone who you know can bring you down into your window. So if you're feeling really anxious and too excited, talk to somebody who can bring you, who is more mellow, maybe, or who is soothing in their words. The idea is that our nervous system will match theirs and will become more calm. Other things that can work are like journaling. Journaling is good to write down your ideas, to write down, how you feel or what you're going through. Um, and again, healthy distractions, like the sewing for me, but it could be something else for you, something that will help you get your mind off of things. Also, try exercising like yoga, or something more soothing, something slower. And if you have a weighted blanket, that can also help you as well. Um, it's a great way to relax and bring your heart rate down. If you're having feelings of being zoned out, or you feel frozen, or you're having a low mood, you can connect with someone who can bring your mood up. Try exercising, or doing something with more movement, something like a cardio workout. I know there are a lot on YouTube, and you can maybe follow one of those. And for both conditions, I feel like either if you feel like you're too hyper, you're too anxious, or you feel like your mood is too down and you feel depressed and sad, and you have a low mood, you can, in both these conditions, I feel like listening to the Quran can soothe and bring peace to your heart, because verily with Allah's mention, there's a soothing of the heart. If you're feeling if you're continuing to feel stuck and you're not, able to pick up yourself out of it, and you feel down and you just can't seem, to either get out of bed or to get off your couch, you might want to try setting small goals for yourself. So if you are going through something like this, you could, it could be something very small. It can be simple, like telling yourself, this morning when I get up, I'm going to use the bathroom and I will wash my face, I'll brush my teeth, and I'll do a simple, maybe like a skin routine, or I'll brush my hair, or even tidy up the bathroom a little. Because and tidying up your space, by the way, your home, it can make you feel better. Sometimes the organization of our space, it does influence or reflect our mood, and can naturally give us motivation and elevate our mood. So seeing, if you're waking up in the morning and you're seeing that your bedroom is so nice and organized, and you're going out to your living room and seeing that that's organized and the kitchen's organized and everything is clean, and it might make you feel better, and it might motivate you to do something maybe more productive with your day. The idea is really to start moving forward, and caring for yourself, and carrying yourself back to a good mental health state, even if it's in baby steps. And it begins with the idea of taking some action. So there's no timeline really to how slow or quick this happens, but you need to set a reasonable goal for yourself. Listen to yourself, go with what works for you. My example doesn't have to work for you. Yours could be much bigger or much smaller, and that's really okay. Sometimes it helps not to focus on every single detail or every single feeling when you're overwhelmed. Instead, try shifting your attention by doing something nice for someone. You can maybe connect with a friend, or cook a meal for your family. spend quality time with your household members, cleaning the house for your mother without her asking, or sending a dua to someone who is sick or going through a hard time, or just connecting with somebody you haven't spoke to in a while. um, find ways to bring joy to your family and your friends, and this goes into becoming a beacon of light for those around you, and will give you pleasure and make you feel better in return. um, this is going to be a journey. Inshallah, it will come to an end, inshallah, but this is going to be a journey. And it's a journey to finding the light. And like we said, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and if we can be patient and accept to learn and enjoy the journey, not because we're forced to, but because we really want to, it'll be definitely a win-win situation for us. I ask Allah to grant us serenity, make us of those who are patient, and to grant us the reward for our patience. I mean, um, I also wanted to talk a little bit about when you are becoming the beacon of light, there is reward in that as well. When you are there for somebody who needs to be uplifted, or when you are that person that somebody can call when they're feeling up, or when they're feeling like too anxious, or when they're feeling too depressed. There is a lot of reward in that, and don't take that for granted. There are so many things that we've taken for granted in our life, and there was one reflection that I was thinking about is um, on the day of judgment, when we ask Allah, can to bring us back to the dunya to do good, and at that point it's too late. And I feel like, for me personally, and this to me reminded me, this situation reminds me of that, of like, if I am, may Allah extend all our lives, but and keep us healthy and keep our families healthy, but if we had another chance, what would we do differently? How would we do things in accordance to what pleases Allah? And what will we do to stay away from what doesn't please Allah? And that goes into being patient during these times as well. So it really does, you know, if we think about what we can do in the future to what we're going to do to please Allah, we're going to focus on that, and we're going to renew our intentions, and we are going to, work harder in order for us to change and to grow as people. Um, and Jazakumullahu khairan. I will take questions now. Let me open this 1 second. I don't see any questions in the question section. And if any, there is okay. All right. Well, Jazakumullahu khairan, and I hope that this was beneficial for you. There is a question, sorry. Okay. Okay. So somebody was just asking, and I'm going to answer this live. I think this is how you do it. Okay. All right. So someone is asking, how do I overcome my anxiety when I can't sleep? I'm struggling. How do I overcome my anxiety when I can't sleep? And I think that personally, when I feel that like I can't sleep, this is something that I'm doing, but when I can't sleep, I repeat something like La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir, many times until I get tired and I go to sleep. But sometimes it's really about disconnecting. You overcome your anxiety when you can't sleep. It's really about disconnecting and unwinding. So when it comes to your day, and you're coming to the end of the day, and you know that this is going to be time to sleep, it's not time to read the news. It's not time to open your social media and go through all the apps and read all the bad news that's going on in the world, because that's can contribute to more anxiety. So maybe have a winding down routine, something, I know that people do this with their children. They take a bath and then, read a bedtime story and go to sleep. And we can do that as adults as well. We can unwind by maybe praying Isha, making dua, reading Quran, doing things that can really calm us down. So it's really individual for every person, but it's whatever maybe soothes you. It could be, doing some yoga before bed, or doing something that's whatever it is that could be relaxing, for you. I hope that answered the question. Another question I have is, I have kids in my family and a family, and I am worried about being laid off. What do I do? Okay. Really, for this question, it's a very difficult question, because this is what's happening. It's our reality. This is happening to many families around us. People are being laid off, and um, I think that what goes in here, because the best answer I have is, what goes in here is that, with our dua, since our dua can change our destiny, is to ask Allah really to rectify our affairs, all of them, and to take care of us. And it really goes into tawakkul. There are things, I know that there are things in place, like unemployment and stuff like that, that can be applied for. But I think that it really goes back to tawakkul. Tawakkul ala Allah. Allah is not going to abandon you. Allah is not going to leave you. This is not. This is not. This is not what Allah does. He will take care of you and rectify your affairs. And I think dua, making dua, and hopefully you won't get laid off, inshallah. So another question is, my parents are stressed out, and I feel it. How do I make them feel better or help them? Um, well, communication. A big thing is communication. Sometimes even just an act of kindness, doing something nice for them if you live with them. If you don't, connecting with them. They're stressed out. We're all stressed out. Everybody's stressed out. But connecting with them, talking to them, communicating with them, that could make them feel better, and could help them get through it. And just, maybe reminding them also of, making dua, reminding them also to turn to Allah, because really that is, ultimately what is going to give them patience, and what is going to help them through this time. I can't help, the next question is, I can't help but to cry over a loved one who is in the hospital, but I don't want this to affect my kids. Um, it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. Okay. It's okay to be afraid. Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَلِنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْمَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ, right? So we will all go through struggles, and we will all have hardships. But what helps us is our patience. And Allah says, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا الْخَاشِعِينَ. So even, and seek help in prayer and patience, right? So even if you are sad, and even if your loved one is in the hospital, and you can cry, maybe somewhere privately where your kids won't see it. So we don't have to be very open to our children, especially if they're too young to understand what's going on. There are certain things that we can keep from them. There are certain things that they don't have to be exposed to. So if it takes me maybe 15 minutes to go into the bathroom and cry and wash my face and come out, then then that's what has to be done for you. And to be able, like, again, taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself comes first. In order for you to take care of your children, you must take care of yourself first. I hope that answers your question. Another question I see here is, how do I give back to the community in time like this? Should I stay home? Should I just stay home? Okay, so giving back to the community doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and give to the community. There are a lot of things that you can do. I'm sure that all of you have wonderful skill sets, and that there is something that you can, offer people or provide to people. And you can sometimes provide those things from home, believe it or not. So, I'm not able to go out and give back to the community. But by doing something like this, I hope that it could help, um, by giving back a little. People are donating online. That's giving back from staying home. So it doesn't necessarily mean at this time, we're being asked to stay home. So you giving back to the community doesn't necessarily require you to leave your home in order to do it. So you can do it from somewhere like home. Um, okay. I have another question here. How to benefit from quarantine to strengthen the family bonds? So this is a wonderful question, actually. How do we benefit from quarantine? How do we strengthen the family bonds? Um, One way to benefit from quarantine is to really make the most of it. Making the most of it how? Have dinner together, have breakfast together, make dua together, pray together. Um, Try to do everything together. You'll learn more about your family than I think that you've ever known. So this is a time to really take advantage of that. It's time to really connect with people that with your children or your spouse, or the children with their parents. It's the time to connect. It's the time to be to look into their interests. Maybe your child wants to play or color, and maybe you can join them to play and color. Maybe this can be a time where you have the family start a new project or something. It's really it's anything that you do that's together, like you can do together, will strengthen the family bonds. Try to be positive. I know that a lot of us don't think that maybe, for the adults here, a lot of us might not think that our children are going through a lot, but did we ask them? We should reach out to our children and try to ask them. I deal with youth mostly, so this is something that, you know, um, I'd like to share. I'd like you to ask your children, ask them, how do they feel about being in quarantine? How do they feel about being at home? How are they dealing with this? Is it a struggle for them? Are they okay? Their lives have changed too. And for people who are used to, maybe if they are going to school, these are people who are used to, their social circles, their friends. How are they coping? So check in with your family, check in with your children. And for for parents who have children who are younger, you'll be surprised the type of questions they have, or what they're thinking about, what they're wondering about. So really pick with them, pick their brains, see kind of what's going on in there. And I think that you can really strengthen your ties with them through communication. um, Jazakumullah khair. Okay, yes. Somebody's asking if they can get my email address info so we can talk privately. Sure. I don't know where to put it down here, but I will tell it to you. Actually, I see a place. I see a place. I put it in. Okay. That go in? Back to the questions. Figure this out. Okay. Okay, so somebody is asking, how can I explain what's going on to my kids without causing them anxiety? Use language that is, I think that with children, use language that is on their level. So if you have like a toddler and they're asking you, what's going on? Like, I'm scared. What's happening? Like, why aren't we going out? That's a common toddler question. Why aren't we going anywhere? Why isn't nobody coming over? And so you can, use words that they'll understand. So you can say things like, there's a germ out there, or, there are some YouTube videos actually that I Googled earlier last week about, talking about like the germs and the coronavirus and how to, explain it to a child. And, it does talk about like, using, telling them about the germ, telling them about the coronavirus, telling them what's going on. So you want to be honest. You want to have an honest conversation, but you don't want to complicate things. You don't want to say, oh, we're doomed or anything like that, because that's what's going to make them anxious. So you want to make it as, general as possible and say, there's a germ out there. We're not getting together right now, but soon it'll be over, and we're going to be, we're doing this so that we can all stay safe, and soon we'll be able to connect again, and we'll be able to see your friends, you'll be able to go back to school, and things like that. So like I said before, this can be very hard for children, but being honest, I think, is key, because children can pick up when you're not, being sincere or being honest with them. Someone's asking here, how to prepare my kids for Ramadan spiritually and mentally during quarantine. So, how to prepare? Okay, so I love to decorate. So when Ramadan is coming around, I have a bunch of Ramadan decorations some that we made and some that I bought, and so mentally, that's kind of how I get them into the spirit and or in the mood of Ramadan. Spiritually, um, telling them, I think that everything that we do that prepares us for Ramadan, like maybe reading stories to them, or of the prophets, or just talking to them about, the why Ramadan is special, like why Ramadan um, benefits us, like the benefits of Ramadan. Does it do to us that the devils are, locked down in hell, and that it's a time for us to connect with Allah, and this is the month that the Quran came down in, and just stories like that, things that the children um, will understand or will be able to comprehend, and that's hopefully a good answer to your question. Um, so somebody's asking, how do I reach out to my teenagers during a time like this, and they're so closed off? Um, I think when it comes to teenagers, yes, they may be so closed off, but there is a way to connect with them, and you just have to find that way to connect with them. And it's more about letting them talk and you just staying quiet for a little bit. We as parents, I catch myself sometimes too, but we talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and we don't really allow them a chance to express what's going on with them, or to talk about what's happening. We just want to flood them with information. My advice to that is just stay quiet, even if they don't answer. Maybe you can say something like, so, ask one question and really stay quiet, and let them give them a chance to respond. And if they don't respond, you can follow up. So give it like maybe a good 10 minutes, or maybe even leave the room and come back later, and you know prompt them with another question, or ask them that question again if this is something that you really want to know about, and let them know that it's okay if they don't want to talk about it now, or if they're not ready to talk about it now. uh, let them know you're open to that, you're open to them not being ready to talk. So I might ask my child, like, hey, so what's going on, like I see that you've been a little down lately. I'm here for you if and then wait for a response. If they don't answer, then just say, I'm here for you if you need me. um just come to me, and if you're not ready to talk about it, I completely understand. Just when you are ready, I'd like to hear from you, or I'd like to be able to help you if I can. And really, one of the keys here is not to be judgmental. So just like even whatever response that you get, you have to try not to be judgmental, try to understand where they're coming from, what their thoughts are, what they're going through, because you know they're struggling as well, or there's a reason why they're closed off, there's a reason why they may not feel like they want to answer, or they want to share with you what's happening. But to show them that you're available and to show them that you care is very important. I hope that answers your question, inshallah. So someone's asking, how do I keep my routine as normal as possible so that they feel like things are normal? So with the children, I think that this is towards the children. How do I keep my routine as normal as possible so that they feel like things are normal? So keeping a routine is so important, because it keeps your children feeling like there is some type of structure, and structure is really important for so many things, including behavior. And it's disciplined behavior, and they'll feel more they'll feel more like they're accomplishing things. So keeping a normal routine is the best thing that you can do. So if they're waking up and brushing their teeth, washing their face, having breakfast, so you would get up, like, maybe it doesn't have to be exactly the time that you got up for school. Maybe let them sleep in a tiny bit more, but get up, let them wash their face, brush their teeth, change their clothes. It's important to change your clothes. That's another thing that I don't know if I mentioned before, but it's important to change your clothes and get ready for the day. Get out of your pajamas. Just change into clothes that you would normally wear out, or something a little more formal, just for that day. And have them change into their clothes, not their school uniforms, but just into, like, clothes that they would normally wear if they were leaving the house. And have breakfast, get started with maybe some homework or athkar al-sabah. It's very important. And have them do some work, maybe some exercises, let them take breaks. Activities, if the weather's nice outside. I know we've had some nice days, so if the weather's nice outside, have them play outside for a little bit. It's important for them to also move around, to exercise, because in whatever environment they're in, I'm sure that they had a lot of activities going on. So, and especially if you have hyper children, you want them to be able to release that energy in order for them to maybe focus more, or or to do the tasks that you're asking them to do. Have lunch at a reasonable time, and schedule dinner with the family all together. That's just keeping a normal routine, really. And even if you didn't keep a normal routine before because you were relying on school, or whatever you were doing before that you know was helping you get through, right now it's okay to establish a routine. Right now it's not too late. You can establish a routine. You can establish a routine with your family. Working and so busy, and there are so many people that, like, I'm sure, that are upset to stay home, but there are so many people that are happy that they get to stay home, just because they're able to focus on their families a little bit. They're able to I think that even for us, having Ramadan right around the corner, and we're able to stay home, even some of us are working full time, but or have children that we're taking care of, but being able to really connect with your family during this time, and really prepare yourself for Ramadan, or really get to just spend some quality time with your family, whether it's having dinner every single day together, or it's just, I don't know, like, watching a funny video, or just um like staying inside for a little bit, taking a break, slowing down. I know here, especially in New Jersey, we have such a quick a lifestyle, such a quick lifestyle. We're doing things all the time. We're always busy. We're always busy. So for us to come to a complete stop, it's very humbling. It's very humbling that we're able to take a break from all this for a little bit, and to really just focus on ourselves. There's a lot of self growth that can happen from this break that we're getting, um, especially if we're staying away from social media, especially if we're staying away from the things that are making us anxious. This There's so much good that can come from it, but we just have to be able to see that, and we have to be able to take advantage of that. Someone is asking. Someone's asking, is this a punishment from Allah? Um, so how do you view it? Okay. So I don't believe that this is a punishment from Allah. If anything, this is a test. This is a test, because Allah says, He does tell us. He's like, verily, I will test you with fear, amongst other things. من الخوف والجوع ونقص من المال والأنفس. He will test us with fear and hunger and loss of life, and loss of crops, and give good tidings to those who are patient. So I do think that this is a test from Allah. And I do think that Allah, I don't believe that Allah is a punishing God, or he's going to, like, to us who are Muslim, who are, or even who are doing our best, for us to are doing our best. I don't think that, Allah is going, is, just like that Allah's out to harm us or anything like that. I think that this is a test. We are going through trials. We have trials, and Allah says that he will put us through trials, and so we have to look at it. We have to take it as is. We have to take it that this is a trial, and I will do my best to make it through this trial, and keep your faith in Allah. Keep your, have hope in Allah. Because I think at the end of the day, this was what will help us get through this. Somebody's asking, how can you keep yourself motivated to continue to work and study? Um, you can try to keep yourself motivated to continue to work and study, because, or through, really, through, this is going to be over, inshallah, right? And so you must continue to work and study, because this is what we have to do. This is what you chose. What if I'm guessing that this may be a student, but so to study, to keep yourself to study, is really to get good grades, and so that you can, you're going to move on to the next grade, inshallah, even if you are stuck, through this until the next school year. The ways to keep yourself motivated is to, I was using this with one of my students, but you know your classmates and your friends are going through the same thing that you're going through. So, maybe connecting with your friends, maybe talking to your friends, maybe doing assignments with your friends, if your teachers are okay with that, doing it as a group. I think that can help you stay motivated and help you keep going. You can also find motivation in getting your good grades. I don't know if that's enough of a motivation for you, but sometimes just really accomplishing. When I accomplish a task, I feel, this is what a lot of students say. When I accomplish a task, I feel accomplished. I feel good about myself. So maybe you can use that feeling that you're going to have afterwards as a motivation to do that work, and to do, because everything that we do has a consequence. And you study and you work hard, inshallah, you will see the fruits of that. um, Okay, I have a question here that says, I'm a mom with 3 kids and I feel like I'm barely surviving mentally. It is too much. How do I take care of myself and my family? So, like I said before, and I'll say this again, taking care of yourself is the first step in being able to take care of anybody else. And so, being barely surviving mentally, I don't know if that, I mentioned this a little before, but to survive mentally, really, I don't know what type of struggle you're going to, but you're going through, I'm sorry, but reaching out, if you're really having a tough time, I think that reaching out to someone, again, because I don't know what you mean by barely surviving mentally, you can reach out to me privately, inshallah, and we will talk about this. My email is in the chat on the side. And I will, inshallah, hopefully I'll be able to answer your question better. How do I pass this test from Allah? So this is a test from Allah, and how you pass it is you ask for help through patience and prayer. And I really do believe that. It's difficult. It's difficult for everyone that's going through this. And I think that, the coping strategies that I gave, as long as, and I think also, as long as you don't, if you stay away from things that are displeasing to Allah, and you do the things that are pleasing to Allah, I think that this is how ultimately we will pass this test, inshallah. I think that is done with the questions. I don't see anything else. Let me see here. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Inshallah. Okay, there's another question that says, what are some weekly goals? What are some weekly goals I can set up to help me stay? Okay, so some weekly goals, well, the goals are really according to how what you can handle, pretty much how much you can handle. So they're very individual, so they're going to be different from one person to another. My goal could be that I don't know, that I'm gonna clean this whole house by the end of the week, or somebody else can have a different goal, like I'm going to read the entire Quran in a month, or everybody has different goals. So but some weekly goals that you can do to help you, maybe you're just doing things that that you need to do for yourself or your family, that you haven't, or you've been neglecting, or you have been putting off for a while. So maybe if you need to tidy up something, maybe start working on that. So again, it depends all on how much you can handle. So if it's something, if you can't handle, make them realistic. That's really at the end of the day what it is. Make your goals realistic, make it something that that you can be able to tackle. So don't set goals that are too hard to achieve, and then you're disappointing yourself. Set goals that are going to be easy for you to achieve. You can challenge yourself a little bit with your goals, but not something that's going to that you might be setting yourself up for failure with. I hope that answers your question, inshallah. Mm. So there's a question here that's saying, what can you do when you feel trapped and have no control of anything you do? Okay. When you feel trapped, we don't have to have control over everything. There are things that we can control. So there are things that and I'd like to focus on, I'd like you to focus on the things you can control. So the things that you can control are like your kindness, to people, your prayers, your dua, your, you know, how you, how you handle the situation, how you, how you're responding, to people, how you're taking care of yourself, how you're eating. These are all things that you can control, but some things that you can't control, like, or you're washing your hands, for example. They asked us to wash our hands for 20 seconds, and so things like that you are things that you can control. Things that you can't control, um, leave it to Allah. The things that you can't control, leave it to Allah. There is nothing that there's nothing that we can't control that's worth us dwelling over. So if, for example, and you know what, there is this really wonderful chart that I saw, that has a circle in the middle, and it says the things in the middle are the things that we can control. And so maybe you can draw this on a piece of paper or something. It's just like a circle in the middle, and you'll just write the stuff that you can control in the middle, and then everything that you can't control, you can write it on the outside of the circle. And the things that you can't control are things that are not, that are things like, for example, what if my neighbor gets sick? Like, that's not something that you can control. That's something that's up to them. Or what if I give advice to someone and they don't follow it? You do the best you can, and then you leave the rest for Allah. Somebody's asking here, is if getting back to our life after quarantine, is that going to be difficult? It depends on the individual, really. I think that most of us will be happy to get back into our lives, but it will take, because change, like I said again, change is never easy. So even now, when when we're going to get used to this life, and we're going to get used to a little bit, with our routine and what we're doing. So changing that again is going to be, it's going to take some adjusting, but everything with time, you see, like, time has a very strange way of working. It really does. It will get us, it does work things out. So if we are just patient and we give it enough time, things, I believe, will inshallah work out, and they'll fall back into normal routine, and we will be able to adjust, inshallah. Okay, I think that's it for our questions. So I'd like to thank you all and say Jazakumullahu khairan for attending. I hope that I was of benefit to you, inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan for the dua I have and the wonderful comments in the side chat. And Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum.